All right. Hi, Aune. How are you this morning?
I'm all right, thanks. How are you?
Oh, I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to finally connect with someone outside the country. You are all the way in Namibia, so I'm very excited to find a connect in Namibia. So thank you for affording us. I know things are hectic on your side, but you've afforded us the time, and I'm so grateful. So we are literally going to. It's such a pleasure. We're gonna jump into it. So, you know, usually on this show called Braving It, we usually have a location, there's cameras, there's the crew, you know, there's a whole countdown, 3, 2, 1, you know. And this time around, because you're all the way in Namibia, we found it still necessary to do this. And so we're doing it via Zoom, which I'm quite excited about. We are living in a digital first world. So I am embracing the idea of doing the show on Zoom as well. So I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled as well that we still get to do it despite the distance. Aune, I don't know you and you don't know me. So this is very, very interesting because I just came across an article, or rather a story about you that was published by the Cape Argus. And it grabbed me like you will not believe. The article, I think the headline was something along the lines of UCT cum laude graduate triumphs after arriving in SA with only 500 Rand in pocket and grit. And it was the grit for me that was like, okay, no, I have to connect with this woman. Her story is so inspiring and I want to know more, much more than what was published in the newspaper. So here we are. I tracked you down and you were graceful in your response on LinkedIn. And I'm so glad that we still get to do this. So how did the Cape Argus how did the Cape Argus get a hold of your story?
I'm not quite sure, but I think they got hold of the story through the lady who actually interviewed me, like the UCT marketing something, because I remember her sending me an email asking me if I'm fine with the Cape what is
Argus.
it? Cape Argus or something, featuring my story, and I was like, that's all right. And then they asked for my supervisor's details because they wanted my supervisor to hear from my supervisor, and yeah.
Okay, interesting. Okay, so they followed the right channels, I suppose. But I was just like, listen, who are you? I want to meet you. So Aune, you are 26 right now, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And prior to you pursuing your master's at UCT, you actually obtained an honors in microbiology from the University of Namibia before you pursued your MBA.
Yes.
Sorry, not your MBA, your master's.
Yes.
And you were able to study at the university via a loan. You got a loan to study, correct?
Yes.
All right, okay. And then soon after you graduated from the University of Namibia, you worked for 2 years as a quality controller at a seafood company. Now it's interesting because you worked at the seafood company until January 2019. And then come Feb 2019, you then found yourself in SA. You had a letter in hand for admission at UCT, and all you had was 500 Rand. So one has to ask, was it that your salary was not enough for you to obtain more than 500 Rand in your pocket? How is it that you only had 500 Rand and yet you had just resigned from a full-time job?
Wow, thank you very much. That is a very, very beautiful question, and I would just like to clarify. So the quality control job that I was doing at Handana Seafood, it's a seafood company in Walvis Bay. It's a unskilled job that I was doing, and I was doing this because I did not, of course, want to stay at home without doing anything. Although I was getting paid, the pay was really, really low, and I couldn't save much to enable me to further my studies. And so the little that I had, say, preparation of visas and other stuff that I needed to prepare for me to go over to Cape Town. And basically everything was finished by the time I had to go to Cape Town. Like I didn't have much in my pocket.
So all you had was 500 Rand after all of your other obligations that you had to take care of?
Yes, that is correct.
You know, I also understand in the article they mentioned that you were raised by your grandparents. I think a lot of us at some point, you know, either lived with our grandparents for some time or were raised by them completely. In your case, what was your reason for your grandparents taking care of you? What was the main reason behind that?
Okay, so my mother is a single mother, of course.
Yeah.
And when I was born, she had to like go to the nearest town for her to be able to do some self-employment job. So then since my grandparents were, you know, like really supportive, they asked that my mom takes me to them so that she's able to be able to generate this more income for herself. And yeah, that is how I ended up, I think.
Okay, so your mom was full on hustling to make ends meet for you. So each time that she would work, she would send money home to your grandparents, and that's the way in which the arrangement was.
Yes, she was actually self-employed, and she was just hustling her way out.
Oh, okay, I get that, And then you say that you learned the value of education from your grandparents. I'm intrigued. How did they teach you the value of education?
Oh, wow, that is very interesting. And I would just like to say more about especially my grandmother. She was very strict when it comes to education.
Yeah.
I remember during my primary school, I used to pass always like at the second position. There was always someone in front of me, and trust me, I used to get pressure. Like my grandmother would ask me, who is this child that is, you know, performing better than you? I want you to challenge this specific person, because and she always you know, like when you know second position is not that bad, but my dear, with my grandmother, it was like she felt like I could do more, and maybe she could just see the potential in me. And yeah, unfortunately, like I honestly could not get the first position up until I think grade 8, when this person had left school and they went to a secondary school somewhere in the area. And then that year I took over, like I was the best student overall, you know, like yeah, I think he was just too smart. But yeah, my grandmother would always make sure to wake us up. We were never late for school. She made sure that we had like a petrol, because we used to use not candles, but this paraffin. Yes. She always made sure that there is paraffin for studying. She always used to wake me and my siblings to study in the morning. Like the dedication in that lady was just something else. And yeah, she could always tell you to study really hard and making sure that you pass. And there's a narrative that she used to tell us that sort of like, if you do not study, then you are going to suffer in life. And that is something that is always sort of like pushing me really.
So, yeah. Wow. What a woman. So I think that it sounds like the culture of excellence was embedded in you from a really early age. You know, you really had no choice but to live up to the concept of excellence.
Definitely.
Wow. Oh, that's inspiring. That's just amazing, amazing. And also you were a good child to try and live up to that because you know there's a lot of us who just off ramped.
I know, but yeah, honestly, this is something that is still in me. Like I always remember exactly what my grandmother used to tell me, and I remember in 2012 when she was sick, and then she was staying by my mom in the town because she came like for hospitalization and all stuff. And then I called her over. We spoke over the phone. That time I was in grade 12 at a secondary school, and then I did ask her how she was doing, and then she was like, "I'm doing well. Just study very hard." Like that's the message. And that was the last time I spoke to her, and she was just like, "Do not play with school."
Even in her last moments, she still insisted that school
yes.
be the epicenter of what you do.
Definitely.
Sure.
Definitely.
That's amazing. Auna, in 2019, as I said before, you resigned from your position as a quality controller at the seafood company. You made your way to SA. Again, you've got that letter of admission in hand. You've got your 500 rand, but you have no accommodation. You have no money for living expenses. Who do you call next when you arrive in South Africa, and what happens thereafter?
Okay, so in the process of my application, I have been helped by a friend of mine who was doing the same program. And so then we have been now communicating with this friend of mine, and she knew exactly what my situation is. So I think when it was like when I sorted out the visa, and then it was time for me to actually go because school has started was gonna start soon. She encouraged me that no, you know what, Anya, just come over to South Africa and I will accommodate you because there is a number of organizations which funds students.
Yes.
So I'm sure with the consistency and the confidence that you have, you will have to secure something. And for now, just come over to South Africa and I'll accommodate you in residence. This was even against the residence rules, of course, because they were not allowed to bring in visitors like sleep over and all that. So then I went, I found my friend waiting for me at the airport, and then we went over to her residence. And then upon arrival, I think it's she thought maybe like I had a better amount of money. And then she asked me, how much do you have? And then I was like, I have 500. She was really shocked, although she knew I didn't have enough money. She was quite shocked that it was only 500. And then she looked at me and she was like, do you know that this is South Africa and very expensive to live here compared to Namibia? And then I was just like, yeah, I don't have a choice. Like, here I am and I must find something. There should be a way. Yeah, so luckily my friend was honestly also equally confident, and we tried to approach different funding bodies and scholarship offers. And then we kept on like submitting application day and night. I could not sleep. I was working on those applications like nobody's business. At the same time, my supervisor was also working towards finding something for me. And then on this other day, my supervisor introduced me to the Sam Cohen Scholarship. She was like, there's this trust that funds students. Maybe you can submit your application. And then I did submit my application, and surprisingly, it was only after like few days they got back to me telling me that I have gotten the scholarship, and they are going to fund my tuition fees and accommodation and living expenses in Cape Town. And before that, before I got the funding, actually, we were now wondering, okay, if I get funding now, where exactly am I going to stay? And then and I was like, let me go to the accommodation officer.
Yes.
So I went to the accommodation officer, the residence housing officer, and then I told her that I came from Namibia. I'm here to do my master's, and I don't know where to stay. And what that lady asked me, she was like, how can you come all the way from Namibia without knowing where you're gonna stay in a foreign country? My dear, I looked up at her. I was like, I don't know, but I just want to study. I don't know how, but I just want to study, and I am going to study. And then the lady was going on, no, there is no space. I stood at that office and I was like, I'm not going to leave until you guys grant me accommodation. And she eventually, did. And I was really, really happy. You have no idea.
This is so interesting. This is so interesting for me. You said something there. You said that you got the scholarship or from the trust, and they were able to pay for your tuition, and they were able to pay for your accommodation. Here's what's interesting. When you got your letter of admission to UCT, had you not secured funds for your tuition yet when you arrived?
No, not for tuition.
Oh my goodness!
It was just for funding funding the practical aspects of the project. Because I got a funding from Poliomyelitis Research Foundation, but this was to fund the practical aspects of the project, which means it's experiments that you are going to run in the lab, and that is the most costly part of doing a program by dissertation, because you have to do a lot of work. The reagents are expensive. And so I think this is what gave me so much hope, because I was like, if I could secure funding for my practical work, then definitely I'm not going to let this opportunity go. And no matter what, I'll grab the opportunity. I will see how to actually go around it. But giving up was not an option for me.
Sure, that is some really inspirational stuff, Aune. How much of, if you were to apportion a ratio to some extent, the practicals constituted what percentage of the fees? Was it like 70%, and then you still had to find the other 30%?
Yeah, I would say.
Was it like 70%?
Yes, I would say that. Because those reagents are expensive. I think someone who knows how lab work works actually would know, because a bottle of reagent can be really a lot of money, and you use that reagent for even less than a week, and then it's done, and then you have to order another one. But it's really expensive.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Because, and I think I'm harping on this issue because a lot of us want everything to be perfect before we pursue it. I must have secured the full tuition. I must have space in my accommodation before I embark on a journey. I must have some degree of living expenses. Otherwise, I mean, I don't want to be stuck. I don't want to go there and be stuck. I don't want to go there and inconvenience someone. I don't want to go there and feel a certain way of, some extent, some degree of rejection. You almost want to have all of your ducks in a row before you pursue anything. And this tells me, and it inspires me so much, because, you went there with, an incomplete package, and you said, I am going to figure it out when I get there. Somewhere, one way or another, this will all be resolved. What were you trusting in, Aune? Was it faith? Was it just your own tenacity and your own drive? What were you so sure of that you decided, I'm going to go anyways and everything will sort itself out?
Okay, so I would say I really had a lot of faith, because I remember when I got the admission, I was it wasn't also an easy process. So it wasn't an easy process, and honestly, for me to get first of all what admission to UCT was a big milestone. So then I have been having this faith that, you know what, God, I know this is you. This is you at work, and I know that you are going to finish what you started. You are not going to leave it halfway, because you allowing me to get admission at this university. It's all by your will, and you are not going to leave it halfway where I will not be able to pursue my program, to pursue the program actually. So yeah, I really had a lot of faith, and I was just honestly, I knew that one way or the other, something will have to come up. And you know what, my friend was also telling me that, don't worry, we'll cross the bridge when you get there. Just come. You know, this friend of mine, you know, she's a once in a lifetime friend.
You. Yeah, she pushed you and she believed in you.
Yes, she really does. And I mean, at that time, we were not even as close as we are right now, because I only knew her from my undergraduate. She was just someone who was in my class, and you know, like, we were never friends. It was just like a hi, and we only got close when I started, you know, applying to UCT, and I knew she was also there. And she had guided me through the application and how things work. And honestly, also for me to leave the country, going to a foreign country, to someone that you are not even close to. Because we were not friends that time. Yes, like, it was, this person could honestly, you could get there and they are nowhere to be found. Like, anything can honestly happen. So yeah, it was a matter of faith, really. And
it sounds like you were just braving it all the way. Yes. You know,
honestly, that was it.
I wanted to ask, how long did you stay with your friend? How long did she let you stay with her?
I stayed with my friend for about 2 weeks.
For about 2 weeks. Okay. So that wasn't too long. It wasn't long enough for you guys to start annoying each other and start feeling like you are burdening her.
No.
Okay. Look, a lot of young people, I think safe to say across the footprint of Africa, have had similar challenges to yours in terms of their education or furthering their education. But for me, what strikes me with your narrative, with your story, is your tenacity to forge and push, regardless of whether something is perfect or not. It's your hunger. It's all of the things that your grandmother instilled in you that said, you are excellent, you have what it takes, and you can do it. You know, Madonna said a lot of people are afraid to ask for what they want, and that's why they don't get what they want. We are afraid to ask, you know, and because of that, we don't get what we want at the end of the day. So I certainly have learned quite a bit from you. What are you currently braving at the moment?
Just come again.
What are you currently braving at the moment?
Braving is in terms of what?
Yeah, what are you? Yeah, so it's almost like there's a lot that you still have to do with your life, and there's a lot that you are doing currently with your life. What are you finding that you have to overcome currently?
Okay, so what I'm doing right now is, so I'm looking into furthering my studies. I definitely don't want to end at the master level. I want to go for a PhD. And at the moment right now, I'm trying to secure funding as well. So I'm still confident that I will be able to get funding to further my studies, and or get a job, preferably in the research area, because I have acquired so much skills from UCT, and I would like to utilize those skills in Namibia. So possibly also secure a job, and then I'll be able to like sort of save up and also grow in terms of my experience and growing in my career. So I'm at the moment consistently looking for opportunities. And yeah.
Okay. So despite all of the challenges that you have had, you still were able to graduate cum laude. You obtained your MSc in molecular and cell biology, obtaining a 95% average. I mean, that's something. I mean, when I was in tertiary, it's certainly not something that I obtained myself. But nonetheless, what do you think that you did differently, Aune, to get such an average, such an aggregate at the end of the day? What did you do differently to everybody else?
Differently. Okay, so let's begin here. So I understand that I really worked hard in my master's. Also looking at the fact that my program was supposed to be 2 years, but due to the pandemic, I could only stay in South Africa like 1 year, and then the following last year, March, I had to leave to come back home. So I literally did my my practical work in a matter of a year.
Wow.
So I honestly think I have worked hard, but on top of this, I think for me to work hard, it's because I had a stronger supportive system. So I remember this friend of mine used to tell me that you must work really hard. She told me that, my dear, here there are no weekends, there are no public holidays. So when everyone in the lab could go on public holidays and weekends, me and my friend were always in the lab doing experiments, or we were always like sort of the first ones to come in and the last ones to leave. So it was honestly the support system that I had, especially from this friend of mine and also from my family back home, and my boyfriend. He was really, really there for me and very supportive. So yeah, me working hard in my first year of study has really helped me a lot, because other students could not write their dissertation. Because remember, when I had left South Africa, there were no experiments that I could run, but rather just already start working on the dissertation or the thesis that will be submitted for examination. So other students who we started like sort of same time with, they were not done. But for me, I had done really a lot of practical work that was already worth giving me a master's degree. Even if I could not reach the objectives or the goals that I have set up for the next academic year, I have already like sort of did enough for master's program. And that is one thing that I think helped me a lot. So yeah, on top of hard work, a very, very supportive system, and making sure that you associate yourself with people who pushes you, people who believes in your dreams and consistently reminding you of what you have to do, or supporting you, or just sort of like making sure that you reach that dream.
Sure. Yeah, no, it sounds like it's a whole, it's, for you to attain something like that, you need a whole ecosystem. It's not just one, one approach. It's different. It's multiple things that need to work together in your favor. Definitely. There's a lot of you though that you need to inject. I love what you said when you said, when others were going away on weekends or public holidays, you were working. When you were the first in, last out. When you were studying. So that's very encouraging, because it starts to showcase the degree of discipline that one needs to have for you to attain what you actually attained. So well done for that. And once again, congratulations, Aune. Your staff, I mean, you worked hard, girl. I think you worked hard. I don't at any point, look, I do believe that you are smart. that you are able, but you worked hard at the end of the day. And thank you for clarifying that.
Yes.
You know, I believe you said that you have your eyes set on a doctorate. I wish you all the best with that. With your kind of credentials and with your marks, I don't doubt that you will find favor, that somebody will favor you and will give you the opportunity to do your doctorate.
Amen. Definitely, definitely.
So please continue.
I'm looking forward.
Yeah, push hard, pursue it. I know you don't take no for an answer, so you're going to be okay. Someone will cave and give in. Someone will give in.
Yes. Someone will have to come.
Yeah, no. So continue to brave your decisions. Continue to brave the choices that you are making. You are a great inspiration for many young people on the continent. And that's why I felt I needed to do this, because I think we could all use a bit of good news, some hope, you know, that is possible. That it's possible to strive and still and attain what it is that you have your eyes set on. So thank you very much for braving it with me this morning. I wish you all the luck. You are a lovely, lovely young lady. And please keep in touch. Keep in touch.
I will definitely do that.
All right. Thank you very much. And all the best for the rest of the week ahead. Thank you for coming through on the show.